And now for something completely different.
Should we talk about the fiction we've spun about this movie and orphans and Herschels?
Most of it wasn't fiction. He literally
No.
was like, "You are a witch because you are an orphan."
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, when he was listing off her crimes, orphan came first. He's like,
Yeah.
he's like, you are to be sentenced because you're an orphan and you're a witch. And she's like, I'm an astronomer. He's like, you're a witch. It's like-
Welcome to Cinematic Relief. My name is Thunder, and I forced my three best friends to watch Pirates of the Caribbean: Dead Men Tell No Tale. Joining me, as always, my partner in crime, Lightning, taking a sip of water as I introduce him.
Yes.
Next, and then there was Emery,
No.
Dr. Payne,
Dr. Payne.
formerly known as
Not a
Dr. Payne.
doctor.
Not a doctor. Thank you for playing the role of the asterisk.
You're welcome.
And that was Kelsey.
Hi.
Guys, wasn't it great? Don't you just
No.
want to talk about
Well,
how great this
I mean,
movie
I-
It
was?
was bad.
I had a great time watching it with you guys. I don't really know
It
what
was
you're talking
fun
about.
watching it.
Well, a great
with
time
us,
is
but-
different
Yeah.
than a
Yeah.
great movie.
Yeah. Exactly.
Fair enough. All right.
It was not great.
No.
I don't know. Again, as you say, I think the universe that we constructed for this movie was very interesting. And I enjoyed that a lot.
But that's not the movie.
No.
Henry. It sounds like you enjoyed
No.
being with your friends,
Yeah.
but you didn't enjoy this movie.
Okay, how about this,
That's
Chris? Chris, what would you give this movie out of 10?
out of 4?
Out of 10. Out of 10, please, for the love of Christ.
Out of 10, I would give it a 4.
Emery, what would you give it out of 10?
I'd give it a 5.
Kelsey,
I want to go 4 also.
I give it a 7. Now that that's out of the way, talk about your orphan magic or whatever the fuck.
All right.
What? Okay, no, sure. I mean, yeah, the very beginning of the movie, we're introduced to one of our main characters, Karina? Carissa?
Karina.
Karina. She's in jail,
She's the best character in the film.
and
Well-
she's going to be hung, and her crimes are being listed off for her, and the guy's like, first of all, you're an orphan, and you're a witch.
But science.
And he's like, but
Science.
I'm a scientist. And he's like, you're a witch, because I guess women can't be scientists in this universe. It's hammered home.
I don't think
several
science can be
times.
science
I-
in this
Yeah,
universe.
science isn't. Yeah. But the deal is that, of course, obviously, like, her major crime was the fact that she was an orphan.
Well, obvious.
And that's because in this universe, if you become an orphan prior to hitting puberty, both your parents die. Puberty is when orphans release their latent psychic abilities. And so generally the crown will kill any orphan whose confirmed parents are dead before they enter puberty. She slipped through the cracks somehow.
The crown.
Yeah. And so obviously that's the reason why it was the first crime listed. It was the most major crime. She obviously was an orphan prior to entering puberty, developed her witch powers, and
because of her orphan.
right
Mhm,
because
mhm.
she was an orphan.
Science.
Right. Yeah.
We spent the entire movie. putting
Yeah, all
together
that
this
was
fiction.
Yeah.
all that was from the mind of these three.
No,
That's not actually
They-
in the movie
no,
at
no, no.
all.
They laid it out very
Yeah.
clearly.
Yeah,
It was
I mean-
clear.
reinforced several times.
Yeah. Also, this just popped into my brain.
Sure, go for it.
Do they actually explain what a horologist is, or do they just use that to make a
No,
poor
it
joke?
was just a
No.
dumb joke.
Okay.
There were so many. First of all, Kelsey doesn't get the intricacies of some of the major plot points in this film.
That's
Cool.
that's a major problem. Yeah.
Cool.
Ruined the
cool.
experience
Cool.
in some ways.
There's differences between the different types of genitalia jokes.
Yeah.
And she just did not understand
Listen.
or grasp the concept that a balls joke is different than a dick
There
joke
are
is
dick
different
and
than
ball jokes.
Cool.
a
So if you're
female
someone who's
genitalia
going
joke.
through the movie with a pen and
Cool.
paper, like, oh, there's a dick joke, then make sure
Cool.
to delineate between dick
Well, yeah,
jokes
right,
There's
right.
and
clear
ball
categories.
jokes.
They clearly made differences for a reason.
Right.
Yeah.
There were a lot of intricate
Well, God
parts in
made
this
differences
film.
for a reason.
Well, sure, but this movie made a point, might I
Yeah.
say, sir, to make the differences.
Or it could be said that this movie had one joke and it found an intricate way to turn it into two jokes, and we wouldn't notice.
was
Listen.
the one joke the fact that they just made the same movie again?
What?
They just rolled all the first
How
four.
Yeah,
movies
you want to
into
talk
one
about
movie?
dare
talk
you.
about
man.
that? now
Well,
about
yeah,
how
well, another
I mean,
thing
that's-
Kelsey doesn't understand
Are you fucking
Is-
kidding me,
It's
Chris?
really it's her fault. It's
is
true.
the fact that a zombie pirate ship and the Flying Dutchman and his ship are two different things.
Cursed-
Okay, I
cursed-
guess I'll just leave.
the cursed undead from Pirates 1
Yeah.
is different than the cursed fish people from the second one, which is
It's an
in
entirely
turn
different plot line.
from the zombies in this movie.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
They're
Anthony!
different.
It was
It's-
just such backwash pirate stuff.
Yeah. But the third, the ones in this movie were not pirates.
No, they weren't.
You know, got him. Yeah.
They weren't
The-
pires. They
really?
were.
They were not.
They were
Did
the,
you miss that
the
plot point?
Spanish
They were the
Navy.
Spanish
Well, say-
So you
Inquisition.
must
Yeah.
have been talking about dick jokes.
No, there you go. Thank you. I was hoping she'd stick up for herself.
Yeah, no, you're right, guys. It's very clear. This movie has a dead, undead crew. Obviously, not the same undead crew as Pirates 1 and Pirates 2.
It's got a witch that it's okay to talk
It's
to.
got-
Yeah.
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 there's
What was
a
up
dip-
with her? They didn't arrest her.
They, no.
They were
No,
just like,
they
we need
never
your
explained
help.
the
Yeah.
witch.
You're definitely scarier than the witch before, but
They
like,
managed
you're
to.
fine.
They shoehorned in like the British Royal Navy also trying to track
Just
down.
to kill him.
Yeah.
Just to kill him.
Just to kill him.
immediately.
They killed him so quickly, you and Chris didn't even notice that they died.
You guys were talking about dick jokes.
We were talking about it probably. No, the only reason that they're in this movie is because they took the template
Because they were
had
in all
from
the other
first other
movies.
movies and they forgot to erase that part.
Wait, who did they kill?
The
Royal Navy.
the
that
Royal
was
Navy?
coming after. Do you remember?
Oh,
we
Chris
Yeah.
doesn't even remember us telling him about this.
No, the problem was that we actually were talking over that part. And I'm like, how did they catch up to the Black Pearl already? And it's
right.
They,
Oh,
they
okay.
steamrolled over the Royal Navy,
Yeah.
which was again only in
Right,
this
there was a scene where like they were like fastest ship from the ocean, and then the whatever
Then
it was
two
called.
random ships.
Yeah, and
caught
then
up
and then
to
the
them.
Spaniards catch up, and we're like, oh no! And then immediately the British catch up, and they're
Yeah.
like, we're here too.
Yeah.
The
And the
entire-
fucking zombie ship eats things. Like,
It does, yeah.
That's
Where does
right,
it go?
yeah.
Is that cool? Can we
Does
get a
that
can we
zombie
get a
No.
ship have a
census?
digestion system?
yeah, like, there's not pieces of the ship left in the ocean. Like, it literally
It goes
whole
nom, nom,
hogs
nom,
the
nom, nom,
fucking
nom.
whole
Whole
ship.
hog.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't.
I'm,
that,
Emery. I talked to you about this.
You only get one of those every 6 months. Emery.
Yeah.
Ah, fuck. No, there's just so much to talk about. Is
Does anyone in the room think zombie ship is cool?
no.
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 Cool, awesome.
There's been
I don't either. I
The,
just
the
wanted
problem
Oh,
is that
okay.
this is the least cool zombie ship that the franchise has
Yeah,
done.
that's
out of
true.
out of all of the zombie ships.
Although I
Pirates
don't
of
know
the
about the
Caribbean.
last one because I didn't watch.
there
the
wasn't
fourth
one.
movie.
Wait a minute.
There wasn't undead in Pirates 4, surprisingly.
Well, hold
real
on.
black sheep of the series.
The
What was
villain
the
of
ship you were talking about with that sprayed fire?
that was Blackbeard's ship, breathed
but he
fire.
was a regular old
But he was a
pirate
regular
ship.
dude.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
Well,
fine.
And that whole movie is about finding the fountain of youth, and there's also mermaids. I only
did
watched it.
see that one.
I only watched it once. It was pretty bad.
I did see that one.
Oh.
It's just like a side quest. Like the only characters in it from the other ones are Jack and his first mate, the dirty dude who's all in all the
Oh,
movies.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
And in this movie, they brought like every character back. Oh well, I guess Captain Barbossa's in the fourth one, but he's sort of like, oh, and I'm here too. But we're not talking about the fourth one,
I feel like
and it's
Captain
all its
Barbossa's
bullshit.
like that in every movie except for the first one.
Except and the second one because he's dead in that one.
Yeah.
But then he
Yeah.
gets brought back to life just
And
to
he's
be
dead in this
killed
one.
in this
yeah,
one.
yeah.
Yeah.
Spoilers, man.
So I want.
Yeah.
I-
Hashtag spoilers for everything.
No one's gonna watch this movie. We're the only 4 people on planet Earth who have seen this movie
You're right.
who didn't work on it.
You're right.
Yeah.
So I've got some notes, and it's just basically a list of things that I want your opinion on.
Mhm.
Cool. Cool.
And it's basically a list of all the weird shit that happened in this movie. But before we get into that, I want your opinion on the new characters, the Will's son and Barbossa's daughter, and all them.
Did not have
Uh,
emotional attachment to either of them.
It feels like they had in these movie series.
Chris missed the barrel. He couldn't have done a
Oh,
worse job.
that was pretty bad. I'm gonna be honest.
So it feels like they had a Will Turner and whatever her name is,
Elizabeth
Elizabeth
Swan in each movie, and then in this movie they were like, "Fuck, we don't have those. Let's create these
Yeah.
new characters."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they became literally Will Turner and Elizabeth Swan with
Mm.
different names.
It works
Essentially.
perfectly with the backwash that is this movie.
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
just reusing
again,
stuff from
it's
the
like
old ones.
they took the code of an old video game and they like just
Yes,
built-
Yeah.
When Shadow of Mordor came out,
yeah,
and the guy
Yeah.
that made Assassin's Creed 2 was like, "My engine.
yeah.
You are building your empire on my engine."
Yeah. And
We
somebody
stand up as
doesn't
my
know who their father.
Not
Sorry, what were you saying, Kelsey?
No, I was just gonna say somebody doesn't know who their father is. I don't know.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
it-
And there's
Yes.
one headstrong woman who's right about everything. And
it all
Yeah.
echoes past Pirates movies.
Yeah. At least one past pirate movie. Like, there's always one being echoed in
Yeah.
each scene.
yeah,
Yeah, like the
exactly.
problem is that they're trying to echo the past pirate movies, but there's also all the other crap they're taking in from the other
Yeah.
pirate movies. So like these characters just become diluted. They're like
hmm
not as front as like Will and Elizabeth.
Oh
were.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
We're not gonna talk about it, but like, there's so many like tiny little plot points that go nowhere just because someone
Yeah.
was probably like, "It'd be cool if this happened."
Yeah.
Right.
Somebody is not saying no.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's a copy of a copy
Like-
of a copy of a copy, and so it's just like blah in so many ways.
Like the bathroom break.
Yeah, the
that
bathroom
is-
the
break.
bathroom break scene.
That
So
is
that's-
that wedding.
That's one of my notes, the wedding scene. So I guess we'll skip to that.
Yeah, right.
How do y'all like the wedding scene?
What
what
in
a
the
fucking waste of
world?
time.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
where was that going? And also, it didn't really resolve. They just
No, like
showed up
Emery-
and killed
They
people.
just killed
like
everybody.
Emery said, I think it was just supposed to be funny.
but it
but it's
it
not.
wasn't.
But it
Was the
wasn't.
It's
problem?
Is
not.
there anybody on Earth, like children included, that see a gross thing and they're like, "Ah, so gross, hilarious"?
No, I mean maybe. But this is
Maybe.
definitely not me.
But then it's like, who is this movie made for? Like, do they
It's
try
rated PG-13,
PG-13?
but it feels like the jokes are made for kids because they're all stupid.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So what did you think of the old characters? Like, what did you think of how much Jack Sparrow and Barbossa was in this movie, and also how little Will Turner and Elizabeth Swann were in this movie?
It almost felt like a Force Awakens moment where they were like, and here's the next generation of pirates, but I
Except
just
no one
didn't
gives
care.
a shit.
Right.
about this
Yeah.
movie.
Like that's the problem is they weighed far too heavily on the old characters. There was no passing of the torch.
No.
There was
Yeah.
just like, oh, the flame's dying out, and that was it.
Yeah. And every time there was too much of the young characters, they were like, "Oh, here's Jack again."
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
in the end, they have to weigh on Jack because that's what so many people care about, or what they think so many people care about, and so he's just forced in.
That's another point I wanted to bring up. It's not on my list, but like, forget all the nonsense in the news about Johnny Depp or whatever. But like, do you think a Pirates of the Caribbean movie could survive in the theaters, financially speaking, when compared to all the other ones, with no Johnny Depp?
No.
if it was well, here's the I don't know. The first movie was just a whole lot of fun, and for
Yeah.
me when I
Yeah.
watched it, it wasn't fun just because of Jack Sparrow. It was just a really like
Yeah.
tight
Right.
pirates movie.
Mm-hmm.
I get that.
And if they were like
Yeah,
able
and
to,
a lot of fun
yeah.
sword fighting.
yeah,
Like, really intense sword fighting,
Mm.
and that didn't really happen in
yeah,
any
all
other
the
movie.
action in this scene was like just some bullshit,
Mm.
Yeah.
sort of.
Like, I don't know.
What were you gonna say, Chris?
It was also a unique story then, and now it's not.
well, yeah,
and I
Right,
feel like
yeah.
people aren't going to show up for the story in Pirates of the Caribbean.
Right.
Yeah.
And maybe
Mhm.
they know that, you know? Like when the Transformers movies got super shitty because they knew that
Oh,
no
yeah.
one cared about the
You touching my hand?
How could you do that to me?
movie. They just cared about the special effects happening.
yeah.
Let's talk about the bank scene. The scene where they try to steal a bank from a building and they take the whole building with
Oh
them
boy.
through the streets of
I mean,
Okay,
whatever.
so
that's
city.
Physics. Like this whole movie, this girl's like science, and then they're like, "Okay, let's drag a whole building."
I mean, it's just a clear violation of building codes. It's my problem. They didn't properly attach that to the foundation.
Yeah.
I have an issue I don't think anybody's going to bring up
Do
about
it.
that scene.
Okay.
Orphan Girl.
mm-hmm.
They
Karina
Yeah.
Smith,
Karina Smith.
The witch.
They
portrayed by Kaya Scodelario.
they see her, right?
Yeah. Who?
Yeah.
And her. And
No,
they're like
who's they? The people hunting her or whatever?
the crown.
Oh,
Oh,
yes.
ooh,
Okay, yeah.
And they're like, we're gonna kill you, and we're gonna tell you why. It's 'cause you're an orphan,
Uh-huh.
first and foremost.
Yeah.
'Cause you're a witch, and undertones of because you're a woman. We're just gonna
Right.
kill you.
Yeah.
I think the undertones of because you're a woman is like, we're going to kill you because you're an orphan and a witch. It's okay that we're going to kill you for these reasons because you are a woman.
Right.
Right.
Like you,
And then the vault opens, Jack Sparrow pops out. They're like, "Fucking kill him!" And then there's a woman like, and they're like, "Well, hold on."
Right. And you
Well,
find
yeah.
out,
Oh, wait a
you
minute.
find out that woman is like an important figure in the
But
town.
you
or whatever,
don't
but
know
not
that
before,
originally. You're
not
right.
before they call off the guns.
Yeah.
Right, right.
Just a little continuity error.
Yeah.
They're
It's-
like,
Yeah,
"Well,
no,
wait a
it's-
minute."
It's weird that literally within the same scene they disrespect and respect women. It's
Yeah.
it's
It's like whiplash of
Right.
like, are we respecting them
and
now or
like
not?
that woman like cheated on her husband. So,
Right.
like,
Yeah.
you would think that would be cause for
and
her
then
to
she's
be
I don't know if you
murdered.
noticed, but she's like later at the execution, she's just like there with him, like
Oh.
everything's fine.
Well,
Like she definitely
Oh.
wasn't punished for adultery or whatever.
jeez.
I've got. Oh,
yeah,
no,
yeah,
go
go
ahead.
for it. No, yeah,
I've got another issue with this movie.
yeah,
Mhm.
sure,
There's so many stupid little plot devices
yeah,
that happen at every single point
like
in this movie.
possession.
They're just like, well,
Yeah.
we're gonna wang doodle, and they're like, but what if we wing dang doodle the dang doodle? And it's like,
My favorite part of like what you're saying right now is the part where the Bermuda Triangle is crumbling, and he just like basically looks to the camera and is like, Jack Sparrow has given away the compass, and it's like, oh no shit, oh, like I don't get it.
Yeah, like
there's
like
so many.
what they'd never
They
explain
don't
that.
explain it. There's a
No.
lot of
There's-
things
there's
that
a
I had
lot
to be
of-
like,
yeah.
okay, so guys, so what I think is happening in this scene is this, but they do not explain it.
Yeah.
well, there's just so much like, well, you can't walk on land, and he's like, yes, but what if I possess somebody?
It's
the power I've had
There
this
was-
whole time.
There's literally 13 minutes left in the movie when he possesses that dude. Like, there's
Yeah.
they reveal
They did
that
not
the,
have to do that.
the main bad guy can possess someone at the end of the movie.
right.
I just wanted them
They're
to
sort of.
just
I would
start.
have rathered a Chekhov's possession. is what
Yeah.
I would have rather.
Like you couldn't have set that up earlier, and
I just wanted them to start fighting like kids, like when they're playing pretend. And they're like, "Well, I'm bulletproof. Well, I can do this."
you
know what I
reached level
mean?
99 yet.
You can't get me because I can fly.
Right. It's just like there's just so much stupid crap that they don't bother explaining until it's until they've written themselves into a hole
Right. Yeah.
that they have
Yeah.
to dig themselves out
Yeah.
of.
Literally.
I think
A
most
literal
Of
hole in the ocean.
most of the most
Yeah.
of the issues with this movie is that it's too long, and they were like, no, it has to be long,
Yeah.
or else people will riot because Avengers movies are long. You know.
Yeah.
But
And
a
this
lot
is
of
clearly
clearly
on that
an
level.
Avengers caliber.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
we're talking about the POTC cinematic universe here.
Yeah.
The other issue, we've been like talking about it back and forth, but like they just don't explain the
Anything.
villains well enough.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Over
Mhm.
they don't explain anything, but like above all else, like the main part, the whole reason Pirates of the Caribbean 1 is a good movie for most of it, for most of the movie, I think, is the reason the villains are so cool.
Yeah.
There's like
And-
never been
Yeah.
anything like that before, and they do a really good job of explaining like, okay, here's how it works. This is how it could happen. This is how it's supposed to
Mhm.
happen.
Yeah, and there were like actual twists that I wasn't expecting. Like when I
In
watched
the first one,
Yeah, when I
Yeah.
watched that
Mm.
movie for the first time, I was like,
yeah, like when he turns into
Oh.
a skeleton thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
Oh,
like
yeah.
I don't know. It was the first one was well thought out, and I just feel like
Mm.
from then on,
Do you know what's crazy? It's the
They did
same
not
guy
think-
making it. Jerry Bruckheimer's produced all of these.
yeah,
Well, he's getting
I
an
don't know.
easy check at this point.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean,
Oh my
Yeah.
god, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I gotta, I've watched the special, the bonus features on the DVD
Mhm.
at this point, and it's fascinating how good they thought this movie was gonna be.
really.
Like they
They're-
it's so
they're-
fascinating to me when you watch a bad movie and then you watch the bonus features and like everyone involved is like, no, we're doing it. This is the movie. Like it's great. We're doing a good movie, and it's like, wow,
they're too far in.
they're too
Yeah.
far
Yeah,
in. Yeah.
they can't see it.
So I want to talk about
They
The
can't see the forest for the trees.
exactly. Is that a what is that? Is that a
It's a
Metaphor?
metaphor.
oh
yeah.
oh oh?
It's just a famous metaphor, I think.
I want to talk about the special effects on Javier Bardem
Okay.
Oh boy,
because he was fake, obviously,
yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Or like mocapped or whatever.
Fake news.
Yeah,
But then and he looked
got
fine.
a bunch of green dots on his face. or some
Right,
shit.
right.
Yeah.
See, the problem is he looked fine. His hair and clothes were like always swaying like he was underwater,
Yeah.
Mhm.
which also looked fine. but when you look at them at the same time, it looks awful. Like, it looks really weird and bad.
Yeah, I feel like they did that so they could have the big reveal of like how they became that way. So like when you find out how he died
Right.
and then became a zombie, you're like, oh, that's why his hair's always doing
Right.
that.
No, and I did have that reaction, but
Yeah.
it still looked terrible. But
Mm.
it's weird because like both parts of it look good, but you put them to like they show the back of his head first. I'm like, oh, that looks dope. And they show the front of his head close up, and I'm like, oh, that looks dope. And then you zoom out and you see the whole thing. You're like, oh no,
I guess
oh
I
no,
didn't
how
really,
did this happen?
I guess I didn't really notice.
Another
Maybe I wasn't looking hard enough.
another thing.
Yeah.
If we didn't have you, I would have been so lost.
Oh my
yeah,
God!
that's
Yeah.
Because-
true, actually.
They show at the beginning of the movie, they show Will Turner,
Yeah.
and he's the captain of the Flying Dutchman. Then they're like 9 years later, immediately introduce us to another zombie ghost pirate character. And before they showed his whole face, I was like, oh, it's him. And
Yeah,
like
that was
even if
inter-
they
you
showed
thought-
him entirely, I'd be like, oh, he looked really different.
Yeah, for a couple seconds, you
Mhm.
thought that Will Turner was going to be the villain of this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which might have made for a cooler
Might have been
movie.
Yeah,
cool,
might
yeah.
have been cooler than this movie actually
It
was.
would have. You
I
could have
mean-
kept the opening scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
too.
what if Will Turner's getting corrupted by the power of
That's what
becoming
I'm
Davy
saying.
Jones?
Right.
Yeah,
That's
Right,
what I
no, and then
that
the
was
whole
the
movie-
direction I thought
and
this
then
movie
when
was
That
and
going.
would
then when
be-
Javier Bardem's character shows up, but it's really Orlando Bloom, he's like, "I fucking told you, you're not supposed to mess with shit. Now I'm evil."
Yeah.
yeah.
And then the
And then
whole
you could have your-
you could still go for the fucking
Right,
trident.
you could still go
and
for the
break
trident
the
and
thing
break
you
the
have
curse.
to
Yeah.
After you
save-
break the curse, he's human. He's not evil anymore. And then you have the same ending scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd make a much better movie.
It
Yeah.
would.
It-
Fuck.
did this just become
Instead
an
of,
if we
like-
made?
No, I refuse to waste our audience's time any more than this one podcast on this film. Chris, I want you to talk about Sir Paul McCartney.
And what about him?
Years ago when I brought up that Paul McCartney was in this movie, you had a lot of things to say.
Did I really?
Yeah, you were mad that it was Paul McCartney and not someone else because, like, Johnny Depp, you said, is like super good friends with.
Oh, Joe Perry. Yeah, I don't understand why Joe Perry wasn't in this movie because they're literally in a band together,
Right.
and Joe Perry looks like a pirate,
Hmm.
and
And so did Keith Richards.
Keith
but that's
Richards-
clearly they were going for, like, remember when we had Keith Richards, music guy, in
Yeah.
the last one? Well, Paul McCartney's in this one.
yeah,
Except
no,
it's
Joe
just-
Perry would have fit so much more perfectly. You know what? I'm gonna bring up a picture of Joe Perry
Okay.
just so that you can see. And I don't know because this is a podcast. I don't know what you want to do with that.
No, I'll probably do nothing.
All right, but
Here's a picture
Well,
of Joe Perry.
I feel like a problem with this movie is that there were too many voices who potentially had influence over the project who said, "Wouldn't it be cool if X happened?"
Yeah.
That's the
Like-
thing. Like, how much of this do you think is Disney's fault at this point?
I don't know.
I don't
It's
know.
like, why was Paul McCartney in the movie? Why was there?
Right.
Who?
hey, look at this pirate. Look at this pirate who
I
just
mean,
drresses like
You
this.
wouldn't even have
Yeah,
to
he
really
does.
do anything. He
Can you
just,
see that?
No, I've seen him. I know what he looks
could
like.
have just plunked that guy in the scene.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Let's talk about CGI young Johnny Depp.
Okay.
It was so weird.
Yeah.
It was unnerving. Yeah.
I agree with you in the fact that like they kind of did an okay job. Like it wasn't a bad CGI person, but it didn't look like young Johnny Depp.
Right.
Exactly.
No.
Right.
Yeah. No,
did
it was.
not.
They did a fine job making a CGI person, but
I figured out why.
oh, okay, yeah.
They
Go for it.
wanted to make a young looking person, which for whatever reason usually means a weak chin and jawline. Johnny Depp has had a strong chin and jawline his
Yeah,
entire
since
life.
Forever. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
And when they did that, it just to me, I said it while we were watching, but I was like, it looks like they just CGI'd everything under his eyes. And
Well-
that's because it just looks super thin and not like Johnny Depp.
If I may pierce the veil, because I
Oh.
know everything there's to know about this movie. The way they did that is that the body you're seeing is a real body. The only part of CGI about it is the face.
That
Oh,
makes
wow.
sense.
Because they had a real dude with the whatever on his face, and then they just put Johnny Depp's face over his. So the body and the
And-
hands are all real.
And then
Oh.
dubbed the voice, obviously.
Yeah, and then dubbed in Johnny Depp's actual, like, old Johnny Depp voice.
Yeah.
Oh.
Trying to sound younger.
Yeah. Did you guys feel like someone was telling him to do that? Like, you gotta, I know we know you're old, but you gotta sound young like you used to.
Oh yeah.
Probably.
Because, like, especially in
Yeah.
the first couple scenes It just feels like with the voice he chose, he's being a little bit more silly.
Yeah.
Just, yeah.
And
Yeah.
I don't know if they said for the kids or if they said because you're old.
I don't know.
I want to talk about zombie sharks.
Oh no.
Zombie sharks.
Zombie
Yeah,
sharks.
That
I
was
mean-
cool. They were practical.
Yeah, they were. So I'll
That's-
give them that. They weren't CG.
That is the only redeeming
Zombie
fact
sharks.
about
Yeah.
those zombie sharks.
Yeah.
This is another point where the logic of the movie breaks for me. Like, I have so many questions.
Yeah, go for
Yeah.
it.
Like-
and I have answers.
Oh, please do.
Mm.
I'd want you to answer this for me.
Kelsey
Mm.
doubts that.
Well, listen. This goes. I have multiple points. One goes
Good.
back to I don't understand the logic of what this curse is exactly.
The
Yeah.
curse is.
Please,
Please
lay this
tell
out
us.
for me.
The curse is if you, and I know you're gonna open this back up later, but the
Mhm.
curse is, as the movie says, through its actions or whatever, if you find your way into the Bermuda Triangle, which by the way they do not name, they call it the Devil's Triangle the whole time. I don't
Yeah.
know why. I don't know if Bermuda sued Disney or whatever, but if you find your way into the Bermuda Triangle and then die there, you are cursed there, and you're as a zombie until the person who put you there gives up their most prized possession. And then when they do that, when they willingly give up their most prized possession, then you can leave the Bermuda Triangle, but you're still a zombie
Okay. Okay. Several.
Until you kill them.
until you,
Find the
until
trident.
you
'Cause-
find the trident, I think.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, I mean, several things there. I
right?
guess.
Yeah.
Like one of the first scenes of the movie is young Will Turner going into the Bermuda Triangle with
Mhm.
an entire ship of people.
And he's the only one who.
He's the only one who survived.
survives.
So theoretically, all those folks should now be zombies.
right,
Never-
but
never
the movie's not about
Never see them again.
that
Two,
or whatever.
who killed the sharks? And was it another shark? What's that shark's most prized possession? When did those sharks go free?
And the birds.
Arguably,
And the birds.
There's so
Don't
many-
remember the
there's so many
the
zombie
horde of
birds.
zombie birds.
And
Maybe it's-
arguably, the bomb killed the sharks because they were all blown up too.
Maybe. True. That's a good point, actually. Everything
Oh.
that's blowed up was killed by. See, that's the thing. That's the thing. I think everything that was blowed up was killed by Jack Sparrow. Henry Turner's crew, the one that was killed in the Bermuda Triangle,
Okay.
they were killed by zombies, not a human. Maybe that's it.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
They were
Well-
killed in the Bermuda Triangle by a denizen of the Bermuda Triangle.
Right.
All right. I
So
mean,
maybe the curse has to be like secondhand, like a human killed another human in the Bermuda Triangle. The human is the killer is still out there,
Or the movie could have explained it to us.
or the movie's
That movie
dumb
didn't-
fakey
So-
fake bullshit.
so then, last point about the zombie sharks. Why are they following the orders of Captain Salazar?
Yeah, for some reason, Captain
Calzone.
Captain Calzone has no, that's racist. Captain Salazar probably has like a little bit of mind control over everything that's a zombie. Like he controls the ship with his mind, he controls the crew with his mind to a certain extent. He controls the zombie sharks because, as you pointed out, Kelsey, he lets the sharks go and then he says out loud, "Go find Jack Sparrow," and then they
Yeah, he
do.
said kill the sparrow.
Yeah, yeah. So they
Easily
didn't
misconstrued.
explain
Terrible
that
order.
either. It's one of those things where it's like I figured this out in the years that I was a zombie.
Yeah.
But we're not going to tell you, the audience.
Yeah.
Right.
Instead, don't worry about that. Look at the gross wedding.
Right. Like they yada 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 over so many important like factoids that could have cleared up this movie for me.
That could have like keep the movie 2 hours long, but like cut out all the fluff, whatever you can consider fluff,
Yeah.
and replace it with like, here's how it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like Barbosa being like, "How did you get the compass?" And the witch is like, "I have my ways."
Or
And then they just end the scene.
Or Barbosa being like, I have the power to uncurse the ship. I'm going to say a bunch of doo-doo nonsense words. I'm going to stab you in the chest, and then the Black Pearl is going to be better.
Yeah. What? Where
Yeah.
did that come from?
Probably the fourth movie, honestly. I think, you know how in the third one, they had like a vote of who's the king of the sea, and they voted for Elizabeth Swann. It was a whole thing, because you always
Yes.
vote for yourself, but then
Yes.
Jack Sparrow voted. I think he's currently the king of the sea. That's why he has like sort of magic powers, maybe. I don't know though, because the movie didn't tell
The
me.
movie didn't tell you this.
Yeah.
The movie didn't tell us any of these things.
Yeah.
We're saying this.
I'm surprised.
And, like-
Oh, hey, I can cross off zombie rules
Oh,
off
there's
my
something
list.
else.
I'm
'cause we talked about the
surprised.
zombie rules.
Yeah.
you have not done a review yet.
What do you mean?
He wrote some more, and then he wrote some more, and
Oh,
then he wrote too many.
well, I'm not done with my list.
Well,
Oh, okay.
You just want to get out of this Pirates 5 talk, but you
little bit.
promised. You promised me
I promised what?
that you said, and this was like months ago, but you said, I promise you the next cinematic relief will do Pirates 5.
We're doing it. We've
know.
done it. It sucked.
Well, we haven't talked about Ship Lady. The big ship thing that was
Oh
made
my
in
God.
It sucked.
it
That's
did.
it's just one more thing that it's like, who thought this was cool? They were wrong.
Yeah.
Why is this in the movie?
And also, like, did it die because it got crushed between the two ships? Is that what ended happen?
I
Oh, yeah.
no, thankfully cannons can't harm Jack Sparrow, but they can harm
Right.
gigantic.
Jack
Right.
Sparrow definitely doesn't have a collapsed chest right now.
No,
but,
yeah. He's fine.
you know,
Or crushed skull.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
a moment before that, we had a huge tension scene where Cannon was like getting eerily close
That's
to his
the,
head.
That's the
Yeah.
thing that like you like is weird because it's a Disney movie. Like it's a PG-13 Disney movie, which means characters can bleed, but they can't get mutilated or die. You
Right.
know,
Yeah,
at least not the main character.
Right.
yeah, and
But if they do get mutilated and die, make sure they come back as a zombie.
right. So that it's fine.
yeah,
Right.
Still
right, yeah,
cute.
yeah. They're fine. They're fine.
Or don't show it because they pulled off somebody's toenail in this movie.
Right. Yeah. That
Yeah,
was,
they showed nearly all of that. Yeah.
almost all of it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Arguably too much. I want to talk about just the whole ending scene, the trident, the parting of the sea.
Jesus
The
Christ.
anchor.
Well, yeah, quick,
Talk about physics.
like building up to the ending scene. There's an entire plot in this movie about a like notebook or a diary that's Galileo's notebook,
Actually, Galileo's
and
notebook.
and there's a
which
blood.
is
There's
explained
a
away in one sentence.
There's a blood moon that happens that reveals words on the notebook that lead this woman to read the stars to tell her where the island is with the trident. I don't understand a fucking thing about
Yeah.
that entire plot line. They went and they just shot out stuff about it so fast. I'm like, what are you talking about? What is happening here?
Yeah, and then they were like, "Oh, you're gonna fucking find it with the timepiece," and she's like, "Yep, science."
She's like, oh, I have a watch that's set to the time of London, and I'm using it to calculate the stars to know exactly where this island is in the ocean.
That first part of that sentence you said, though, is real. That's how they would do that.
I'm sure it is, but is it exactly accurate? Like, would it, like?
No, sailors who use stars to get to where they're going can only use like general directions. You're gonna be thousands of miles off of where you were supposed to end up.
Right, yeah.
You you can follow the North Star. You're gonna go north. Good luck.
Yeah.
There that
They
ends.
might have,
Yeah.
they maybe would have been able to find the general, like, 70-mile radius where this island should be.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, just based off of what I know, I literally took a one of my history classes. I know we like to poke fun at the fact that I'm a history minor. One of those was the Atlantic Ocean, life on the Atlantic Ocean.
Oh.
and
wow.
literally it was
Is
like
the real question, is the Caribbean in the Atlantic Ocean?
it was mainly about just the slave trade routes. This
Oh,
class.
okay.
Because that was most of life on the Atlantic Ocean.
Well,
Well, yeah.
But the whole because he brought up, like, you know, before Columbus, people did sail the ocean and they tried to figure it out. And, you know, if you use stars to try to get where you're going, you'll get a general direction. You're probably going to die, though. Like, if you're
Yeah.
reduced to using the stars for direction, if your captain sucks that much and he
I
doesn't
mean-
read stars that well, you're probably going to die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
like that's a terrible setup. Yeah, it's a lot. Like the MacGuffin in this movie is Poseidon's trident. Poseidon, king of the ocean's trident.
You promised me that they name dropped Poseidon because I don't
Yes!
remember that.
Yeah.
Yes.
They
Okay.
literally
several
said
times.
Poseidon's trident.
Poseidon's trident is the MacGuffin of this movie. It's placed under, like, or beside an island that you can only locate by following the stars in Galileo's notebook to the island. And on the island,
Sorry, it got
there's
to me.
there's the exact point of stars that you have to locate, and they're shining with glowing rocks. And you have to put Galileo's rock onto the rock in the island, and that will open up the sea
Science.
and lay before you
Yeah,
Poseidon's
science.
trident, which holds all the curses of the ocean inside of it.
And then you have to decipher the riddle that tells you have to break it in half.
There's a riddle that talks about to set things free, you have to divide them, and that's actually a clue
Yeah.
to literally slice the trident in half
which
to
you
break
can do
the
with
curses.
any old sword.
Oh,
Yeah.
sword,
Right.
our sword will do
Anything.
Pretty
Probably
easily,
punch
too.
you with your hands.
Oh,
It's that
the
brittle.
slightest touch. will
Yeah,
be fine.
honestly,
Yeah.
it fucking shattered.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I gotta fucking. It was just like
Yeah. It
Yeah.
exploded.
that was the first physical contact of magic versus science. I looked it
Yeah.
up, by the way. The Caribbean Sea is in the Atlantic Ocean. Not that it's fucking germane to the conversation anymore.
You did
Can
it.
we talk about
Yeah.
Keira Knightley?
Yeah, and how she didn't speak a fucking word.
She didn't say it was in 2 scenes. She didn't say anything. I'm gonna Google how much she got paid to do this. See if that
Because that would be the
information's out
best
there.
check
Yeah.
ever.
I know, seriously. You just have to run up to a guy, make out with him, and then be sleeping
And
in
that
a
guy
bed.
is Orlando
Yeah, and that-
Bloom.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
And that guy, yeah, like lucky day.
Yeah.
You know who? There's only one person I can think of who got probably paid relatively the same to do slightly less.
Natalie Portman
Mark Hamill.
Natalie Portman.
in Thor.
Oh, you know what?
Or,
yeah.
In Avengers Endgame.
Yeah.
Yes.
She
Endgame.
technically did do less than Mark Hamill
Well,
because
she
she
didn't-
laid down.
I don't think she got
Yeah.
paid at all because that footage is
Oh,
reworked.
you're
Oh,
right.
they didn't
Yeah,
pay her
yeah.
at all.
Hold on, so she doesn't
Forget
count.
it.
Back to Mark Hamill.
Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
Oh, for Force Awakens.
Yeah,
Literally.
the one person who did he just didn't make out with Daisy Ridley. If
Yeah.
he had made out with her, then they would have
They'd
been
be
the
on-
same
they'd be
amount.
equal.
That would
Yeah.
be interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Wow.
that
It
would've been a
weird.
weird twist
different
ending.
Yeah.
ending.
I do, in fact, have the answer. Do you want to take bets on how much money you think Keira Knightley made?
$1 million.
Okay, no. It's got to be like 10 million.
I'm gonna say 5 million.
All right, I need to do some quick conversion.
Oh, because
Can we
it's
do-
in euros.
Can we do this with Mark Hamill and Force
Or
Awakens after
Yeah,
Pounds
sure.
or
For
something.
comparison.
Yeah.
See
All
who
right.
got paid more to do less.
Hang on, I need to do
Oh, yeah.
dollar
I love that.
to
Pounds.
pound, right? No, I need to do pound to dollar.
To be fair,
Pound. Yeah.
it wasn't much acting, but Mark Hamill apparently worked out for like a year to get ready for this role,
To
and
get
they
in shape.
refused to tell him what he was doing.
Oh, that's
Really?
Yeah, and when he found out, he was like, "Really?"
Yeah, I would feel that way too.
I think that was the polite way of saying you're a little pudge, Mark,
Oh,
and
yeah.
we need you to trim down to be Luke.
Oh, I just want
For
a
this
fucking
one
website.
scene.
Oh, I found it. Okay.
He thought while Anthony's doing that, I might as well just talk
Do
about
it, do
Mark
it.
Hamill.
Yeah, go for it.
When he was reading the script, you know when
Oh, I'm so glad you brought this up. I was gonna bring it up.
okay, cool. You know when Kylo is like trying to get the lightsaber out of the
Sorry,
snow,
one
and
sec.
then
How
Rey-
many?
Yeah.
A million is how many zeros?
6. Nope.
Yeah, it's 6.
6.
I lied. It's 6. It's a test.
And Rey is also so Kylo's trying to get the lightsaber out of the snow, and it flies past him.
yeah.
That's when Mark Hamill thought Luke was gonna enter
He was
going to
be the one to.
Which how cool?
Yeah,
would that
no,
have
that'd be
been?
cool.
That
Yeah.
would be really cool.
So you said a million. You said 10 million. What did you say?
5.
What's the
She made
difference?
3.8 million.
Woo! Kelsey
Fuck,
wins.
Man.
Yeah.
That is a lot
Wow.
of money.
How much did
okay,
Mark-
now-
It's
yeah.
a nice payday.
I say $1 million for Mark too. 3.8 to do nothing
Yeah,
but
how?
make
What,
out
are,
with
what do you
Orlando
guys guesses
Bloom.
for how much
For
Mark
Mark
Hamill
Hamill?
made for Force Awakens?
One.
I'm gonna say 2 million.
5 million.
Did it autocorrect? Oh, interesting. Mark Hamill reportedly earned $650,000 for the film.
Okay.
What?
Oh
Wow.
no, sorry. That's what he,
650
no,
million.
Sorry, 650,000 is what he made off the first film.
Oh,
Hold
which
on.
is relatively
Oh,
fine.
so-
In 1974,
Yeah.
I'd take that.
That's nice. Yeah.
It just says for Star Wars Force Awakens, Hamill was paid a low 7-figure salary.
Oh,
that's
come
rude.
on.
Wait,
Mark Hamill's net
Seven
worth
figures,
so
so
seven
at
figures.
least $1 million.
is at least
Yeah.
$1 million.
Yeah.
probably $1 million.
Million something.
His net worth is $12 million.
That's good.
I don't know
Wow.
why I
Keep it-
needed
keep it
that
up, Mark.
info. Hold on, let me get my list.
Marky Mark
Let me get my list. Marky
In the
Mark.
funky
bunch.
bunch.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch.
Is that how you refer to Mark Hamill?
No.
That's Mark Wahlberg.
It's
Right. No, I know that, but why did you bring him up? I'm confused.
No, I was just I'm on that like closer level with Mark
He's
Hamill.
just riffing.
Oh,
about-
okay.
that I call him Marky Mark, and we have a joke between us. We're like, oh, it's like Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch.
I'm
So
pretty
when
sure
I
the
said-
joke with
and-
Mark.
So
And
when
he
I
goes-
said, "Are you referring to Mark Hamill as Marky Mark?" and you said no.
Well, I wasn't. I was referring to him as Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch.
Okay.
I was
All
being
right.
pedantic.
All right.
I'm pretty
Emery,
sure the inside joke with Mark Hamill's name is Mark Camel.
like the animal.
Mar and then the animal a camel.
Mark.
A
'Cause
camel
that's
is
how
a
he
camel's
signs
like
things
a
on
Emery. A
Facebook.
camel's like a moose with no horns.
I
And
Thanks.
2 humps.
Sometimes one.
On Facebook, when he posts things, he puts MAR and then an
A camel
emoji
emoji,
of a camel.
Oh, I
um,
didn't know that.
last thing on my list.
Oh, here
we
we
gotta
go.
talk about the after the credits scene.
Oh,
Oh
boy.
yeah.
So
We
they
do
break
have to talk about that.
the trident, and
Yeah.
every curse in the sea is broken. So when you're
Every
watching,
curse.
it's like,
death.
well, yeah, that's not a curse though.
That's my point. He should. Well, I'm getting
They-
ahead of
It's
myself.
okay.
I'm sorry.
They break
Yeah,
the
no.
curse, and then on screen you're seeing Javier Bardem's character turn back into a human. Thank you. And
and like cheated death.
he cheated death. But the point I was making is you're watching his curse being broken, and in the back of your head you're like, oh, and also Will Turner's curse is being broken, and then they have the scene where it's, oh, everything's fine now. We're all the curses are broken,
Yeah.
and then the after the credits scene is the Will Turner and Elizabeth Swann are in bed, and Will has a nightmare that Davy Jones is there for real.
Tentacle
and then,
monster Davy Jones. Yeah.
Yeah, and then
As
he
a tentacle.
Mhm.
and then he wakes
Monster.
up and he's not there, but he was really
He
there.
was.
Though.
There were barnacles
Yeah.
on the floor.
So what the fuck?
So what the fuck? How are there
Yeah.
still barnacle monster Davy Jones
Like,
if all the
I-
curses were broken?
I literally watched Will Turner stab him in the heart.
Right, and
Yeah,
Well,
become
that's- I mean,
him.
that too.
Alive.
You watched him stab him in the heart and then
Right,
become him.
like-
Yeah.
Is what they're trying to say is there needs to be a Davy Jones, even if we have to resurrect one.
Maybe. I feel like
I-
if you break the curse of Davy Jones, there's
There's
no,
no
need
more
Yeah.
for
Davy Jones.
Right.
Yeah.
So
and everybody
dumb.
who
Like the Fly.
dies
Notice
at
how-
sea
notice how Will
just
Turner-
dies.
It's implied that Will Turner doesn't go back to his crew because who gives a fuck? They're all
Right.
gonna live now.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So dumb.
Or they die because their curse is that they died at sea, and so they have to live eternally on this boat.
Well, yeah, but
So if the
Captain
curse is
Salazar also
broken-
died.
Well,
at
yeah,
sea,
yeah,
and
Captain
he
Salazar
came back to
Well,
life.
also-
like, I guess. But, like, I mean, obviously this is stupid Pirates of the Caribbean logic.
Nonsense.
Yeah, like that's the problem. Yeah.
But, like, logically, you would
Yeah,
think all
no.
those people would die because they died at sea.
Right. I mean, the way that the Pirates of the Caribbean logic works is that you take what you think would probably happen, and you'd be like, "Oh, what's the opposite of that?"
Yeah.
And then that's what happened.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to know what Roger Ebert thought
Yes.
of Pirates
Oh,
of the Caribbean?
read it.
Curse
Only
of the
if you
Black
sing
Pearl?
it first.
Read it.
I don't
want
wanna
to
sing it.
Who's
Come on.
Robert Ebert?
Well, have
So-
you not watched these cinematic relief episodes, Kelsey?
No, she's listened to them because it's not a video; it's a podcast.
Uh-huh.
No, so there's a segment on the show where we look up a Roger Ebert. I haven't explained this in a while. I should probably do it more frequently. So thank you for being here
You're
and not
welcome.
knowing what it is. So Roger Ebert, God rest his soul, acclaimed film critic, reviewed like every movie that there ever was. He, in his old age, got a little. How would you describe it, Chris? Like up his own ass. Kind of a
What
little-
phase of Ebert are we talking?
So right now, for Pirates of the Caribbean: The Curse of the Black Pearl, we're talking 2003.
So Ebert had a lot of stages. He was
A
back
fledgling
in,
young.
back
yeah.
when Jesus was in grade school. Ebert was a fresh young off the streets movie critic who didn't take things too seriously. He seemed to genuinely enjoy movies.
Yeah.
The older he got, the more
And then he started regularly writing for a newspaper. He would do a movie review
Yeah.
for a week for a newspaper.
Mm-hmm.
Then he got his own
highly
website.
acclaimed
Right.
and kind of got, like Anthony put it, up his own ass about it. And then the older
and
he
insisted people call him Robert instead of Bobby.
His name's Roger.
Oh,
yeah,
But it was a funny joke,
That was a
but his
good
name's
joke.
Roger.
Yeah.
I heard Robert.
Sorry.
Sorry.
and the
But
older
then
he
he got
got,
his-
the more he hated films.
Right.
it
and
appeared.
to a more pinpoint for our segment extent, children's films.
Children's
Because
films,
he got his
yeah.
own website, and then he could review as many movies as he fucking wanted, which was every movie because he was so old that it was all he knew how to do. And no one told him to review Rugrats Go Wild, is all I'm saying. So
But
also
then,
oh, yeah, go for it.
but then, I mean, I'd like to finish it. This guy
Yeah,
wrote
sorry,
till
yeah.
like the day he died.
Yeah.
And we have been analyzing the history of Roger Ebert on the show.
Yeah.
Got
And then he got so old he started to become slightly senile, and then just started loving every movie again.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So he died in 2013, so we're 10 years out from his death for this one.
So he's probably still kind of cranky.
Probably just starting to be. So this lunatic gives movie ratings out of 4.
okay.
So
Yeah.
he gave Pirates of the Caribbean. Do you want to guess how much he gave it for the first one?
The first Pirates,
Yeah.
3.
Anyone else want to take a stab at?
I'll
It's a
say
shitty.
two.
It's a shitty.
No, it's not a great
scaling.
scoring system at
Yeah.
all. He just dare to be different.
Right. I'll say 2.
2.5.
3. Chris was right. It
Hey,
was 3. Chris is
I-
getting good
I
at
know
this.
Ebert.
Hmm.
All right.
This one
That's
is
Siskel.
kind of. I'll Oh, and the whole point of this bit is that I don't read these beforehand. I just go into them blind. So there's a nice little 90-minute B movie trapped inside the 143 minutes of Pirates of the Caribbean: Curse of the Black Pearl, a movie that charms the audience and then outstays its welcome. That was a whole
Wow.
sentence. Although the ending leaves open for the possibility of a sequel, the movie feels like it already includes the sequel. Maybe that explains the double-barreled title. 3 stars, by the way. Out of 4.
Yeah, that means he might maybe liked it. That means it could be anywhere between 60 and 80%. He liked it.
It's a good thing that Jeffrey Rush and Johnny Depp are on hand to jack up the acting department. Their characters, 2 world-class goofballs, keep us interested even during entirely pointless sword fights. Pointless?
I like the sword fights.
There's
So he recognizes that you like them, and within his own review asks, pointless? See if you can follow me here. Captain Jack Sparrow, portrayed by Johnny Depp, has a deep hatred for Captain Barbossa, portrayed by Jeffrey Rush, who led a mutiny aboard Sparrow's pirate ship, the Black Pearl, and left Captain Jack stranded on a deserted island. Barbossa and his crew then ran afoul of the... Oh, this is just a synopsis of the movie.
Pointless?
uh...
yeah, that seems disconnected from his then launching into the submarine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll have you know, all of
The
those
only
swords
reason
had
I bring
points.
this up is that the battle scenes actually feel as if they go on forever. It's fun at first to see a pirate sword fight, but eventually it gets to the point where the sword clashing, yard arm swinging, and timber shivering gets repetitious. I also lost count of how many times Jack Sparrow is the helpless captive of both the British and the pirates and escapes from the chains/brig/noose/island. And yet, the movie made me grin at times and savor the
Surprising.
the daffy plot. What does that mean?
That means a 3 out of 4. You guess how much I liked it.
And enjoy the way Depp and Rush fearlessly provide performances that seem nourished by deep wells of nuttiness. Captain Barbossa's not like a kooky. He was like the
No.
villain. He was like a
No.
pretty
Not
threatening
a
villain. I
kooky
remember.
character. Yeah.
He eventually becomes a kooky
like
character.
he has
but-
personality.
In
but
like the
he's not-
4th one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Consider how boring it would have been if Depp had played the role straight as an Errol Flynn or Douglas Fairbanks, senior or junior, might
Wha-
have.
Well, of
Hold
course.
on. No. He makes it sound like Captain Jack is a design of Johnny Depp. He definitely didn't walk on set and then be like, all right, so you be a regular pirate. And he's like, well, what if I was drunk? So he means,
Yeah.
what that sentence means is, what if they wrote this film differently?
I feel like this next line is targeted directly at me, directly about Pirates 5. To take this material seriously would make it unbearable. Captain Sparrow's behavior is so rococo that other members of the cast actually comment on it. And yet, because it is consistent and because they can never catch Depp making fun, you can never catch Depp making fun of the character, it rises to the cockamamie sincerity. And then he sucks Jeffrey Rush's dick for 3 paragraphs.
I
Only-
thought that was part of the review.
Only the film's
Did you miss that
PG-13
version?
rating prevents him from... Oh, my God. Okay, didn't think this was going to go here. Only the film's PG-13 rating prevents him from doing unthinkable things to the heroine, Elizabeth Swann, portrayed by Keira Knightley, whose blood, it is thought, can free the captain and his crew from the Curse of the Black Pearl. That's just more
Wait, was that really
Yeah.
the plot of one? I haven't seen it. in
Yeah,
so
remember
long.
Yeah.
she told them that her name was Elizabeth Turner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she thought she was being kidnapped because she was the whatever's daughter.
Right.
Okay.
Because but then it blew back in her backfired on her and them because they were like, we kidnapped you and also it didn't work.
Yeah.
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 More about she finally talks about the love story, but he finally talks about the love story between between Bloom and Keira Knightley. Truth be told, she doesn't generate enough fire to explain why these swashbucklers would risk their lives for her, and in close-up seems composed when she should smolder.
What?
Parminder K. Nagra, that's a person's name, the star of Beckham, might have been a more spirited choice.
What?
Is he just talking about
just
like her
talking about how-
sexiness?
Keira Knightley's not sexy enough for this,
What a
basically.
horny old man.
Hang on,
Didn't
hold on. No,
smolder enough.
This requires some. I'm not gonna be able to Google this woman or man's name. Parminder is their first name. Hold on. Parminder
Charmander.
Nagra. I have no idea who this is. Eh?
I don't know
No,
who that is.
no idea.
No.
No.
All right.
Also, I mean, if we're gonna talk about them like this, arguably not as sexy looking based off of that picture as Keira Knightley.
Yeah.
Pirates of the Caribbean: Curse of the Black Pearl is quote unquote based on the theme park ride at Disney World, which I have taken many times. It is also inspired, as the ride no doubt was, by the rich tradition of pirate movies and excels in such departments as Buried Treasure, Pirates Caves, Pet Parrots, and Walking the Plank, although there is a shortage of eye patches and hooks. The author...
That's where the
talking about the
-1
ride or the
rating
movie?
came from. That's why it's a 3 out of 4.
Yeah, I don't know if he's talking about the ride or the movie. It sounds like he has a legitimate complaint about the lack of eye patches. The author,
Yeah.
Dave Eagers, reportedly plans to open a pirate store complete with planks measured and made to order, and the Curse of the Black Pearl plays like his daydreams. So that also had nothing to do
What?
with the movie. That's him just talking about another thing that could have improved this movie or whatever.
More eye patches.
More eye patches. 3 out of 4. More eye patches and hook hands.
Not
Oh,
too much
man.
water.
Is that how it ended?
That was it. Yeah, that was the end of it.
Wow.
Wow.
That's why I stopped talking, because that was the end of it.
He ended with the guy who wants to open a store to sell planks.
He ended it with, I heard the other day that there's a pirate dude who wants to open a pirate store. He wrote a book once. That would have made this movie better. I give it a 3 out of 4. Near perfect, but I hated it because of the
Wow.
lack of eye patches.
Jesus.
That sounds like the perfect Ebert review. I wouldn't expect it any other way.
Do you have any...
Well, I mean, here's the thing. For those who don't listen often, I'm glad I fleshed out the rise and fall in slight rise again
slight
of
rise.
insanity, however you want to put it, of Ebert. And this rings true. This is about at the height of cranky old man Ebert. It happens around the mid '90s to early 2000s. And it fits perfectly. He's an angry old man who doesn't understand why mean old boss man is making him do kids movies. Oh wait, it's him.
It's yeah.
Yeah.
He's the one making himself
Well,
do
you
kids
mean
movies.
mean old boss man is his nephew Emo.
Right. Oh, he never mentioned Emo.
No,
Emo
he
was
didn't. He must have not.
perfect age for this
Yeah.
movie. He likes talking about his nephew.
Every time he
Emo.
goes to a
Oh.
children's
That's
film,
cute.
he brings. There's like an underlying current of like, and Emo was there. Here's what he thought about it.
Oh boy.
One time I played Pokemon cards with him, and he scammed me out of all my cards.
Ha.
Cute.
If I may,
Yeah.
Pirates of the Caribbean 5 is a good movie.
Well, the problem is that
If you are someone who liked the first 3, this is all I'm going to say.
Okay.
If you are someone who liked the first 3, and you said, gosh, I wish they made another one, they did, and it's called Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Men Tell No Tale, and it'll be on Disney Plus December 2nd, 2020. Thank you
Wow.
for coming to my TED Talk. You may
You
leave.
didn't say anything positive about this movie.
It's a
You
good.
just-
I said
No,
this movie's a good movie. How is that
Yeah,
not
here's
positive?
no,
the thing.
but
I appreciate that you enjoy this movie,
Go.
Anthony. It's not a good movie.
It is, though, I will say,
Objectively.
better than 4.
Sure, whatever, but it's not a.
Objectively not a good
Yeah,
movie.
objectively, it was confusing, and
Yeah.
they just kind of added things that made the plot move forward.
Okay,
in-
I'll revise.
you
I'll
are-
revise my sentence.
You liked
this
it.
movie is has the possibility to be liked by you.
Sure.
Ha.
If you love Pirates of the Caribbean movies,
Yes,
you've
yeah.
gone to the theaters every single time.
And
these
you were
guys have come
disappointed
out.
by 4.
You didn't like 4. You're like, I can't believe they lost the heart of what Pirates of the Caribbean
And then
movies are
because
all
4
about,
sucked so
which
bad
is
you missed
undead
5.
crews and people almost getting hung in crews. But and,
Where's
and,
the undead crew?
where are the, where's
climax until I see an undead crew?
Where's
Yeah.
Johnny Depp and Will Turner? This is the movie for you because they have come way back around.
Thank you so much, Emery.
Our main characters from the first movies are back.
Because
They're
you are a
like
guest, I feel like people will listen to you
they're
over
like
me.
near mythical figures now. Johnny Depp is no
You just
longer,
said it sucked a second
random
ago. He's
pirate.
doing this for you.
Johnny Depp is now again the main character that the undead crew guy doesn't like. And again, you've got the Will Turner, Elizabeth Swann in the movie. It's the first movie except worse. So
It's the third movie except worse.
if you liked the first 3 movies, there's a chance you're gonna like this one, but it's not 100%.
Maybe.
That's all I'm saying. I'm not. I know I said it was good, but that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that 1, 2, and 3 are great. No one's arguing that. 4 was a piece of shit. I'll hear an argument if you liked 4, but it wasn't good. This one's better than 4. Not as good as the original 3. If you really like Pirates of the Caribbean and you miss the you want the continuation of the first 3, here it is.
Here it is.
There's couple scenes that you just look the other way. Like when I talk about how much I love this movie, I don't bring up the wedding or the pirate lady or the ship mast lady
Yeah.
or the witch that lives under the British Empire
Yeah.
or whatever the fuck.
and more importantly, this
who
movie
eats her pet rats or whatever happened in that one scene.
the movie
She
finally
kissed it and then she burned it to death.
it
That's
dives
what
into
happened.
the undercurrent of orphans and their abilities to manifest
Oh,
magical
right.
powers.
Fuck.
And I've been waiting for this.
You.
And it
Fuck you.
Well, listen, Anthony, explain it better. You
This
can't.
movie and Harry Potter are in the same universe.
Whoa, wait a minute.
there it is.
Harry Potter is an orphan who has latent psychic abilities.
And everybody
arguably.
wants to kill him.
Arguably, and
that's,
everyone wants
that's
to kill
what
him.
it is.
Oh, well, all right.
So
you
now
got
it's,
me.
So now I guess what Chris
Oh,
is trying to
man.
say is Pirates of the Caribbean 5 is great.
It's a Harry
No.
Potter movie.
No. Because they didn't tell me it's
Damn,
in
you
the
can't even let me
universe of
joke
Harry
about
Potter.
it. You can't even let me joke about you liking it. Guys, that was an hour.
Cool.
I can't believe we
I'm
talked about this
going
movie
home.
for an hour.
I know.
I really can't either.
I want, just in case everyone heard Chris talk about how much he wants to go home. We didn't watch this movie and it made Chris so upset now he wants to go home. It's like 10:30 at night.
Yeah.
And
Oh
Chris
my
doesn't,
God.
because
No,
surprisingly, Chris
listen,
doesn't live in
listen.
my room.
We could have watched this movie at 12:30 in the afternoon. I'm going home.
Well, fucking, every time I'm like, no, it's not that bad, you're like, no, it's bad.
No, now I'm hamming it up. I enjoyed watching it with my friends.
Well, yeah, that's
I
the
had,
thing. If
I had
said,
such a great experience.
If I said, Chris, take this movie, go watch it by yourself. We're
Oh,
gonna
that
come
would've been
back,
painful.
We're gonna do a cinematic relief for it, and then you came at me with like, "Fuck you, this movie sucked." I'd be like, "Yeah," but you guys were like, "Let's watch a movie," and I was like, "Dogs! I've got the best movie to watch."
Oh boy.
But yeah, that was it. That was cinematic relief. Catch us whenever, because we upload this podcast whenever we feel like it. I've been Thunder,
I'm lightning.
No, I'm lightning.
I'm Dr. Payne.
You know
We'll
what?
see
That's
it-
fair.
and we'll
She-
see you next time.